What's up, Renegade Nation? Before we begin the video, I'd like to give a shout out to our new Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Magma Wolf 4464, Whiskey the Bone Fox, Super Mandible Claw, Sergio Talamantes Flores, David Edmonds, Joseph Vega, James Mason, Readout Productions, Just Some Loon, Gun Kid, ASE is Awesome, Hikoro, Marcin Makowski, Archion, John Fastolf 101, Jensen Awana Howe, Kazumaki's Father, Robert Wogtall, Oscuros, Master Dragon, and Pink Sprinkles. And I would also like to give a big shout out to our executive producers, the Anime Hybrid, Joshua Fix, the Oil Guy, and welcome our new executive producer, the Gimpster 101. Thank you all very much for your support. If you want to become a YouTube member, hit the join button next to the subscribe button down below. And if you want to join our Patreon, click the link in the description to find out more, and we'll see you there. Take care, guys.
I'm gonna do what's called a pro gamer move.
I went for a headshot, you just never specified which head. Got him. Got Thermite.
Peekaboo.
Got him.
Good.
Nice try, kid. Oh, look. He rage quit because I shot him in the head last round. This is the way. Wouldn't you say? I mean, the Mandalorian is hitting on all cylinders now. And,
It was like October 30th?
yeah. I can't friggin' believe it, dude. We're getting the Mandalorian Season 2, and maybe things are turning around for 2020. Maybe this last quarter of 2020.
Do not jinx it.
I started saying...
Knocking on wood. Ow, I actually hurt my hand on that one. But,
As like they have a studio fire and the child puppet like gets burnt to a crisp and they're like, well, we can't make another one. It's series over forever.
yep. Dave Filoni all
Like
of a
they
sudden
get-
is just like, I'm just not feeling it anymore.
They
Just
get
quits.
they get chicken runned.
Yeah. Oh God. But all in all, man, I mean, the Mandalorian so far has been a treat. It has been amazing, like through and through. Uh-oh, I hear a shorty boy.
I mean, it's probably I know it's hard to say. It's some of my favorite content since the original trilogy.
I'd say so too. I mean go ahead.
I don't know, just it captures that feel or like that old-timey Star Wars magic. I don't know.
Well, it's a timeless feel. That's the thing that's been wrong with the ones recently, is that instead of going for a timeless feel, they've tried to cram like ideologies and all that, and which I don't mind if you're subtle about it. That's the thing. Everyone says, "Oh, you mean these were all political?" They always were. It's like, well, they were, but at the same time, they were subtle enough about it to where it did not overwhelm and ruin the overarching story.
Yeah, well, and the plot told the story. They didn't just cram stuff in there just to put it in there. I mean,
Last Jedi. That casino scene was completely unnecessary. I don't think any Star Wars fan out there, new or old, can defend the existence of that scene. I don't think there is.
I mean, and I love cool space animals, but it's like just shove that stuff in the background like they always do, and it's like, and then we can just sort of wonder about it. Let's not waste a whole bunch of time for it, in a dead end plot device. Well, whatever.
Well, if you're gonna go all in on it, go all in on it, but don't waste time, like you were saying. But the Mandalorian seems to have hit that, and they have seemed to have. Well, they've got a great crew working for them. I mean, of course, you got Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau as pretty much like the leads on this, producer, director, and lead writer. And then, of course, you also have great people coming in to work on these episodes, like Taika Waititi. You also have, I believe, Bryce Dallas Howard worked on a few. You've got really talented people, and I really am excited to see what they're going to pull off in this season, because they have Temuera Morrison coming in as Boba Fett.
Oh, is that official now?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And also, they have Rosario Dawson coming in as Ahsoka.
I didn't know about that.
Yes, and I can't wait for that because I love Rosario Dawson. I pretty much ever since I first saw her in, God, way back when she was in Kids, back in like 1995. Jesus. Shows you how old I am.
I always have to be reminded of it because
there's just too much of it now, and my brain sucks. But when did this take place in the Star Wars?
Right
timeline?
after Return of the Jedi. It's when the Republic is rebuilding.
You said Boba Fett?
Yes.
So he is still alive.
Of course, he was in the Sarlacc pit. Yeah. He didn't die.
Well,
it was always like a fan theory that he might have survived.
In the comics, he escaped, but that's now relegated to legends. So it's not official.
Well, pretty soon they're saying like if all things are done the way George Lucas wants them done, pretty much the entire like Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and the Rise of Skywalker are all going to be relegated to legend because George Lucas and the team that he's trying to assemble to pretty much take over the reins.
Wait, George Lucas?
Yes.
So are they?
They're
sold
negotiating
Lucasfilm?
No, they're negotiating to bring him back in as a writer.
Oh.
As a writer and overhead of story. Whereas he's good at making he's like Jack Kirby. Really good at making these universes up, but when it comes to the finer detail stuff, he often muddles it up. And whenever he has someone come in and do rewrites, like it was obvious on episode 3, someone came in and did rewrites, which turns out it was Will Monahan, the guy who wrote The Departed, the Leo DiCaprio movie. I know that they aren't going to have Lawrence Kasdan anymore because Kasdan's moved on. He said Solo was going to be his last Star Wars film. But if they can get Jake, his son, in on it, plus Dave Filoni, plus other people involved who are really good and really passionate about writing stories in the Star Wars universe, maybe they can correct the ship. I'm hoping, anyway, because from what we've gotten over this last, 6-7 years, it's been a travesty.
That sounds pretty freaking cool, actually. I mean, you know.
Well, I just want good stories. That's all I want. And the people who are running The Mandalorian are telling a good story, and I want to see more of this. But the official trailer for Season 2 just got released. So let's give it a watch and let's see what lies within. Here we go.
Look a little rough.
That looks incredibly inspired by something.
Yes.
In the back.
The music, too. Ludwig Göransson does
Was that the same ship from the first season? Did he have that ship in the first season?
Yeah, that was Razor Crest.
Yeah, this is Razor.
I guess I just never saw it from the back in the first season, but I was just like, why does that look like Serenity? Like,
well, normally his back hatch isn't hanging open in space.
Yeah, so. I think that's right after like a battle, a battle's taking place, and he's on his way to that planet to.
It's just the way the engines were lit up and shit, but I was like, that doesn't look like the one from the first one. It looks like it's inspired by Serenity.
Darn cool ship. Like
it is.
There's a lot going on there. Then I don't know. I love it. I mean, it's not
But yeah, the Razor Crest, it speaks to what the Mandalorian is, like who the character and what and how he is. I mean, they said it in several episodes. It fits who he is. But anyway, yeah, there's our boy and the child.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
Where?
This you must determine. The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
You expect me to
It's
search
Ahsoka.
this galaxy and
No,
deliver
it's
this
not.
creature
I think it's
to
Ahsoka.
raise
No.
enemy sorcerers?
Oh gosh.
This is the way.
Oh boy. Hey!
This is no place for a child. Wherever I go, he goes. So I've heard.
Oh yes.
Wolf.
This is the way.
Yep. Okay. Okay. From top to bottom, God, I love this friggin' series, dude. Because
That's cool.
the music, the scenery,
Yeah.
the story, just like the imagery, dude. The imagery is so classic Star Wars, and I love that. I love it so much.
Well, one of the things too is like even the stuff that's not there, like the backgrounds now, they have basically up on these giant screens. So at no point they showed on the behind the scenes, like these people, they basically have a world that they can interact in, which I think is why the original trilogy was so great.
Yes.
And I think, we kind of lost something a little bit in the prequels because it was like, let's just CG everything. And it's sort of like,
well, there's actually someone who came forward and talked about, George Lucas using almost nothing but CGI for the prequels, at one point, or on one hand, was very, like, hammy with how it was presented, but given what we have nowadays with these backgrounds and the fact that a lot of the special effects and everything are being derived in video game engines, for instance, the Unreal Engine is being used for a lot of CG backgrounds, I can actually see George Lucas being a visionary in that way. It's just he tried too much too early. Mm-hmm. Again, it's the same thing that Orson Welles ran into. Orson Welles, with his filming techniques and his ways of editing films, a lot of people saw Citizen Kane as a failure because he spent so much time, so much effort, so much money, and did so many crazy things with it. Everyone thought it was a failure in the beginning, but then, when it started gaining traction and getting more people started seeing it, everyone was just like, oh, wow, so this is actually the new way of doing it. This is like a new way of approaching it. And those who come through the gate always get bloodied. Every time. Every time someone tries something new, they always get their teeth kicked in. And you can't be afraid to express... This is why I think artistic expression in filmmaking can be a beautiful thing, especially if there's pure inspiration behind it. Because Filoni and Favreau, they are so inspired by the Star Wars franchise that they're not going to do anything that is going to deliberately piss off the fans and subvert just for the sake of subversion.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Dave Filoni is a Star Wars fan and is probably more knowledgeable than anyone other than George Lucas, I would say.
I'd say so too. I'd say I'd say him and Lawrence Kasdan are the two best Star Wars writers. Because I'd say Filoni, in terms of him fleshing out the expanded universe with the Clone Wars and also Star Wars Rebels and now The Mandalorian, I'd say he's cemented his place in a lot of Star Wars fans' minds as probably the best modern Star Wars writer of the last 20 years. And it shows, man. I mean, when you give the man the resources, the time, and you give him enough to do it, I mean, he'll give you something amazing. I mean, it just shows it. Greatness always shines through.
I still don't understand. I've seen recently people being like, oh, the whiny Star Wars fans, they just complain. What a toxic fan base. They complain about the movies they were given instead of being happy with what they got. And it's like, but us and even people who don't like Star Wars fucking love The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that not proof enough for people that we're not a whiny fucking fan base? We just want to not be disrespected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's the same thing about people who, it's people who want one thing, who want everything one way and don't want anyone to say anything back to them. It's like they want to put what they feel out there, and if anyone says anything negative back to them, immediately they're just like, oh, you're just hating, you're toxic, you're this. It's like, no, there's a difference between being passionate and being toxic. If I'm passionate and I have an argument to counteract everything that you've said, that's not me being toxic. Me being toxic is saying, I hope you die. I hope you die, and I hope you burn in hell.
Also, a few fucking fringe idiots saying shit like that never represents a fan base, because that happens in every fucking fan base that exists.
Exactly.
There's something that you're a big fan of if you're trying to call Star Wars fan base toxic, that I guarantee has sent death threats to people as well.
Yeah.
You're not immune.
Someone told me that they hope I never produce, and they hope that I die in a car accident because I didn't like their cross fan fiction of friggin' of an Undertale story that they did. And I'm just like, I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Even the ones that aren't known to be toxic, I guarantee there's still a few shit fans in every fan base.
Oh, yeah. Every fan base, dude. Yeah.
Well, people need to stop talking like they're holier than thou whenever they're in with the same groups of people.
Well,
and
that makes great news though. Is like people like sharing around like the 3 people on Twitter saying outrageous stuff. Blowing that up gets more clicks than anything
I love how
else.
these dudes are
clout
doing
chasing.
these kind of threats and shit 100% for attention, and then these idiots are actually feeding the shit out of the
Yeah.
trolls,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Just like engorging the fuck out
Well,
of the trolls.
it's pretty much they're supplying their own. They're pretty much like enriching their own fuel supply. Because their argument is only valid whenever there's enough trolls to validate what they're saying. But by them putting it out there, they're giving the trolls more fuel for the fire to put. It's a vicious cycle and a constant loop of stupidity. There's no critical thinking in there whatsoever. For instance, like.
It's like, even if people say heinous fucking shit to you, like, the best thing you can usually do as any kind of creator is just to fucking not say anything back.
Exactly. Don't
It's like,
give
or
any
at the very
information.
least, be a troll back to them, But, like, the second you start making, like, serious statements, like, clearly your entire community of people that associate with the thing that you like, that you're trying to send death threats about, are all fucking horrible people.
Yeah.
You done fucked up.
Well, it's like the dinner table argument that people have for Gamergate. That argument cements it perfectly. Never use the extremes to justify the norm, guys. Never do that. That's not nice. That's like me looking at all these crazy Antifa people who've shot people, killed people. That's like me using that to say, oh, all of the left is like this, or looking at Trump supporters who have run people over. It's like, oh, all the right's like that. Like, that's not right. Never do that, ever. That is you pretty much cutting off your nose to spite your face. All right. God. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move on from here. Got some other stuff to do, so hopefully we will see you all then. And I guess until next time, I'm Nate.
Micah.
I am Nick.
And this is The Way. Take care.
We have spoken.